So, like Larry said, about a year and a half ago, I was an intern for the Libertas Institute. I was still a student, and I'd got some sort of flyer indicating some sort of sound money something at the Capitol, and I was late, so I got to the very tail end of it, and I got to meet Larry, and he told me this, about this great idea he had to remonetize gold. And at the time, his plan consisted of, using a bill pay service and an app, but the concept is that we'd be using gold dollars. Now, for those of you that are less familiar with this whole using gold as money thing, it costs about 1,250 Federal Reserve notes, depending on the day, for 1 ounce of gold minted by the Treasury. Now, these ounces of gold have a $50 face value. Okay, that hasn't changed. It's the same for gold eagles, gold buffaloes. So 1 gold dollar is roughly 25 Federal Reserve notes. And again, it depends on the day. Sometimes it's 24, sometimes it's 26. It depends how the Federal Reserve note does against the gold dollar. So 1 gold cent is roughly equal to a quarter as we know it today. So that's just some easy math for you there. And he was telling me about this, and I thought, hey, this is a really great idea. I signed up right away, and I quickly kind of became confused by the site. I got a little lost. As a college student, I didn't really use a bill pay service. I didn't even have a smartphone, so between the app and the bill pay, it sounded like a great idea, but I couldn't really do it, So I thought, well, maybe I could piggy bank in here or something, and I kind of just put this on the back burner. Now, a couple months ago, I got an email, and it said something like UPMA's new gold-backed debit card. And that caught my attention because I thought, well, hey, that makes it really easy, So I was able to contact Larry and talk to him. I do a little bit of writing on the side. I blog on a site called Popular Liberty, and I thought, well, shoot, maybe, there's got to be really something to this. So I convinced Larry to give me an interview, and we did a half-hour interview. It's on YouTube somewhere. I put the phone recording the interview on the blanket, so it didn't sound very good, and it's only got like 100 views if you can suffer through it. But what I learned, I thought, well, I'll write an article about it, and then I'll use this interview, and the interview is going to be the big thing. Well, no one ever really listened to the interview, but the article that I posted on Popular Liberty got picked up by Zero Hedge, and on a sleepy Sunday night, it outperformed every other article they had. It got over 100,000 views because there's been a lot of demand for a convenient gold standard. A lot of the response has been, I can't believe this is real. How come I've never heard of you guys? And really, Larry has a pilot program here in Utah for sound money. We store most of the money here at Brinks. It's insured against fraud and theft by the International Group of Lloyds of London. And now we have this American Express, right? So this is the card that kind of brought me in. We called it a gold-backed debit because really it's backed with your account. If you were to put 1,250 Federal Reserve notes in, you get 50 gold dollars. Your limit is 25 gold dollars for that month on your American Express. We are the only company that I know of in the whole world that offers a 1% gold back monthly rebate program. You can buy things, you can get 1% gold back. So this was my understanding. It was actually going to be 0.5% back, but since I wrote in the Zero Edge article that it was 1% gold back, it ended up sticking. And Larry told me, he said, well, I think people expect 1% back from credit cards anyway, so this will easily compete with any credit card that you have. And I was really excited about this because it's, if you can easily spend money that you have in your gold account, just as easy as a credit card, if you can pay your electric bill, if you can pay your, whatever it is, that's huge. That's way better than a bill pay service. That's way better than an app. So that kind of lit the internet on fire. And it got us so much attention that over the weekend, UPMA gained 400 new members. They came to the office on Monday with thousands of emails all across the country, hundreds of voicemails. This poor little staff, had to handle this. And it didn't take me too long to get sucked in and kind of deal with the mess that I helped start, you know. So I came down with my wife, and we just had a baby, and we we signed on, and now I'm working here. We've doubled in the past month. We're expecting continual exponential growth as we go forward. There's thousands of people sitting on the sidelines analyzing this, trying to decide if it's real, trying to decide if it's legitimate, figuring out how they can do it. Because there's no magic button you can press to go back to the gold standard. You know, it's not quite so easy. Even if you open up a new bank account, you got to rewire your expenses to new cards, and you got to stop these automatic payments and bring them over, and it's kind of a process. I started that process myself, and I just barely got my gold-backed American Express. I was at Walmart the other day, not even thinking about it. I was buying some cat food, okay? And I bought the cat food with gold. And I got really excited. I was like, oh, I just bought cat food with gold. You know, I'm glad I didn't get too weird for the cashier. Just like, I bought this with gold. You know, like, this will be in the Smithsonian, you know? Like, maybe not, but it became that easy. Now, what we want to do at UPMA is we want to make it possible to not have a traditional bank account anymore. You know, even if the banks are telling you the truth, if they're being flat out honest, they're not giving you any interest, and if they're being honest, inflation's at 2%. We can decide if it's really at 2%. So if you're not getting any money, giving your money to the banks, and they're sucking away your wealth, that's not a great deal. In fact, Janet Yellen, she's flirting with negative interest rates. So you get to pay the banks and pay inflation for the privilege of them to gamble with your entire savings on the derivatives market. It's kind of insulting. And you can see why there's a large demand to go back to the gold standard. We can't promise interest, but we can at least promise that you're going to keep your value. That's something right there. But to make this possible and to make this easy, in the last few days, we've come up with yet another development that I want to tell you about. And it is the gold-backed Visa debit card through TrueLink. So between the American Express and the Visa debit card through TrueLink, you'll be able to pay all of your bills. You'll be able to pay your employees, your mortgage, anyone that does not accept credit. American Express, you know, they're accepted all over the place, but you can't go to, you know, Winco, you know, with American Express. Anywhere where credit is not accepted, you have a debit card. It's a reloadable debit card. You can reload your gold. TrueLink accepts gold. You can reload gold directly onto the debit card and have it in your statement. You buy a candy bar, it shows up as 4 gold cents on your statement. So between these two cards, you don't need a traditional checking account anymore. We just made it at UPMA easy to go back onto the gold standard for not just a few individuals that are really determined, but for everybody, for the masses. And this is a standard that we're pioneering here. It's one that we're introducing. In a few years, we're not going to be the only people doing this. The Texas Depository wants, or repository, they want to do a similar thing. And we're going to be using gold dollars. Gold, it's legal tender. It is protected under the Constitution. It is every American's birthright to have money that is backed in gold, that's made out of gold, that's made out of silver. You know, I can't spend this coin at Walmart, but with UPMA, with my gold-backed Visa card, my gold-backed American Express, I can now, and it's easy. We're trying to make it that much easier. We have a new website coming out in a couple months. We're going to be adding videos. We're constantly making updates. We want this to be as user-friendly as possible. People coming in a few months from now are going to have a very different experience from the people coming in a few weeks ago. We want to make this, we want to build a coalition of financial institutions that are using the gold dollar. You know, UPMA's answer isn't to become the new Federal Reserve. We don't want to become the new monetary system all by ourselves. There could be 100 companies like us, you know, starting with us, but going on to the Texas Gold Depository. Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Texas have all passed laws like Utah's, affirming that gold is money, but we really operate off of federal law. The Constitution protects the use of the gold dollar. It's legally unstoppable, okay? And I'm excited to be part of it. I'm excited I feel like it's a noble cause. it's pretty cool being on the cutting edge, and I look forward to working with everybody as we bring the gold standard back to America. Thanks.